Hello, everyone. I think we'll just wait a few more seconds for all the participants who were registered for today's session. Okay. So first question, guys. Are you seeing us and hearing us correctly? Right in the chat section of today's webinar. Also, you can type the information of where are you from and which city or which country or which organization you are watching our. Okay, cool. Remember to click and subscribe our Executive Automats YouTube channel. I'm Rafał Neuszewski, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar, Dynamics 365 Custom Security Roles Creation, how to move them through the different. I'm glad that you have joined us today. A couple housekeeping things before we get started. The chat is on, so you can ask the questions during the webinar. Also, we are recording this session, so you will receive a link to the recording to the email address which you have with. Okay, so moving forward to today's webinar agenda. Firstly, we will show you how physically the security is built, just in a nutshell. Then we'll move to the how to create role based on the process-driven configuration. And afterwards, pack and deliver on another environment, so continuous delivery. And I'll basically check if what we have created fits our needs. And last but not least, question and answer. Okay, so moving to the start of the show, Bart, the stage is yours. Our global product manager of Executive Automats and Executive Automat Securities. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Rafa, for the introduction. Hello, everybody, on this actually short session today, because today we have a flight to catch to fly back from South Africa to Europe. So I hope we'll be able to squeeze in all knowledge we wanted to show you within that short part of the session. If there will be any questions, feel free to send over the questions. But in case that we're going to exceed the time, I will try to respond after hours, just to make sure that everybody has everything what they want over the session. So in a nutshell, the security in finance and operation is built of the roles, duties, and privileges. We can say they are the biggest groups. The role is the biggest group, which consists duties, and the role consists privileges. Duties can consist privileges, and duties can consist entry points. An entry point, or so-called menu items, are the smallest elements that you've got in the security, and based on these smaller elements, you are able to estimate your licensing model. The security access in finance and operations is all about setting a perfect match of your security based on your process. As you all know, our roles are based on the APQC list, and APQC is a standardized way globally how organizations are working within ERP systems, which as a standard doesn't fit to all organizations. And mostly the recommendation would be that everybody should create their own roles, matching their processes. So standing for a role equal to position and duty equal to process that they handle, maybe variation of process as well. Of course, there is always a lower level. You can dig deeper into the code permissions, server methods, and some other elements which are deeply coded. But for this session, it will be good enough to understand this basic concept, which enables you to build also the roles. Following to the next slide, we're going to jump into the Miro, where I would love to show you the whole process, how we can approach process-based duties and roles in the system. So, Raf, if you can just confirm the screen is visible. Today running from hotspot, so this can be a bit lagging.
Yeah, it's now visible, so I can switch the screen.
Awesome. So the organization hierarchy. Think about the organization and outline every position. Position means that this specific person is responsible for certain processes. If we're going to do that exercise of extraction of every person in the organization processes they do, we are able to come up with something called process card. A process card, what a specific person as a project manager does in the system. And we do circle back for all types or all individual positions that we have in the organization to understand what they do, and every process convert to duty. So we have sales, and sales can do, let's say, sales creation. The salesperson can do um, customer creation, sales confirm, release product view, and these number of processes will sum up to the specific sales representative responsibilities. You can take and use standard role, and you're gonna come up with 2047 entry points. You can use custom roles, so converting each process to duty, duty build up to the role, and then you're gonna end up with 21. There is a significant saving, and based on that example, we even are able to show you basic licensing saving that you can generate out of this exercise. If you are interested, how does it look like in the system? You will see that the ribbon on the top consists only 4 elements, quite clean, nothing more. In here, this is much more broad because it consists practically everything which is given by the system from standard. And not only you're securing your system when it comes to data and consistency, but fewer elements you've got on the interface, people are more happy, the learning curve is better, and you are able to build actually segregation of duties. Be compliant with SOX. Without SOD, without understanding what is in duty, it is impossible to build SODs. So in the shortcut, that's the root cause and the example. Let me jump back quickly to our slide.
Yeah, roles based on process. Shall I move next to the next slide, Bart?
Yes, please.
Okay. And how to pack and deliver on another environment. So the deliver.
Exactly. So you can wondering how we do move around in executive automats for security setup, how we move around these ready roles. So we took this chance and we recreated a specific organization structure on left-hand side. You see some accounts payable, head of procurement, pricing specialist, product owner, sales specialist, and that specific person, the sales specialist, is handling number of processes. In this case, 5 of them. So each of these processes, they were converted to duty. We recorded these processes in executive automats, or we can do the same by AX traces. Then we extract out of each selected process the security objects. So down below, you see that for customer creation, I need create customer display and all customer display with certain access right from the process. This will lead probably to the team member level license. Then we can go to the sales creation. For sales creation, I need 2 others. For create packing slip, I will see here the same sales, but also post packing slip and sales confirm. So a little bit more. Going down the list, we can see the whole picture. And let's imagine that we have dedicated environment for security, let's call it UAT or development for security, where we build up the specific role, sales specialist role. And then what we can do, we can export that role in a security configuration type, click confirm, system export that as XML, and then we jump into another environment. This is update 55, where I can just import in the standard of the system a file which consists our configuration. So even if the application is on one only environment, on UAT, on depth of security, I can then package my role, my ready duties, and push it to release or even to production, and then I can simply publish the changes. After publishing, the role is distributed to the end user, and the end user can verify if that's good enough for their requirements. Typically, we follow the loop. Maybe I will not jump into the PowerPoint now, but I will show you the loop, how it works like. So we do position distribution, so we understand what positions we've got in the organizations. We've got identification of each specific process. We've got process recoding, so we recode every identified process. We convert process to security. Then we can clearly and quickly verify the license level for that specific process. We do UAT with security with the business users, which means after allocating the role to the business, they will say that's good enough or they need some more rights. If there are some gaps, you do refinement and you do one more circle. If there are no gaps and they sign off the role, that the role fits the needs, matches the processes, then you build the security layer. So you do that export of your security rights into the XML, and you can import that to configuration on the finance and operations. And then you can move forward to another position. So switch next and position distribution. With this approach, you are able to approach this in a complex way. And we've seen situations where a customer, after recompiling, redeveloping 8 roles, was able to save over 12k euros per month, summarizing this to over 144k euros yearly. The savings from security can be significant from the licensing, but of course it depends on the scale. And clearly we see that this is one of the biggest problems that customers are struggling with, because they don't know how to do the project. There are no easy to use tool sets, and there is no at all methodology. That's one thing that we want to cover here from the toolset perspective, and we want to guide you through approach of how to build security properly, with the approach which will be effective, and you're going to have quick win, because we want to pack one row and deliver one row and then move to another one, not to focus and deliver all at once, to build kind of a big bang or big change in the organization. Yeah, I think from the showcase perspective, that's all. Let me switch back to the presentation once again.
Yeah, the last but not least, how to check if it's our needs.
Exactly. As we discussed, to check the need, you have to circle back once again for this, and
Exactly.
I think this will cover the verification from the UAT perspective. So from tips and tricks, not every application has the application. I mean, finance and operation environment stack doesn't have the UAT security and development security environment. It is good practice, and remember that in most regions, Microsoft is not charging you for dev boxes who are going to develop that pure security layer. So it is worth to do that way. So you will not overspend on migrations and technicalities. So you can have one security layer from security layer on the site ready for backupping. Also, if you are transferring or migrating from 2012 to finance and operations, please make sure that you're gonna understand the differences, because there is no possibility to upgrade AX 2012 security layer to finance and operations, as the whole two applications are different. The naming of the entry points can be the same, they can look similar, but there are significant differences, and it doesn't work anymore in the same shape. Yeah, so sorry guys that this session will be so quick, but I unfortunately I was caught in the middle of the project with customer in South Africa, and I have to jump back to the plane today to be in Europe next morning, as next week we are visiting Manchester for a few days. So that's kind of a high pace lately.
Many thanks for your presence for today's session, guys. So goodbye, Bart, and have a good flight. We will not keep you more here.
Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.
And yeah, what I want to mention here, guys, is like how to also check the roles in terms of if they are fitting our needs. Also, we have another tool in our organization called Executive Automats, not Executive Automat Security Setup, but Executive Automats, and we can easily create the test scripts. We'll be able to test the pre-configured roles which you have created so far. So imagine that if you will have a coverage of like around 80 to 85% of your test cases around your system, you can basically deploy and create those test scripts responding to the roles. And if you will make some kind of modifications, you will just need to start the test script scenario and check what will be the result and if the role is corresponding with your process-driven approach. And this is what we are aiming, the process-driven approach, because physically this is very convenient, very business optimized, and the most effective. So guys, one more thing. Right now you should see on the chat section the link which you give you the ability to sync up for your own demo session of Executive Automat Security Setup. And I really encourage you to take the advantage of it, because during this demo session, you will be able to see all the advantages of our tool, so Executive Automat Security Setup, which streamlines, I would say, this is like a huge step between what is the embedded function of the security configuration in the 365 finance operations and how the Automat Security Setup is make it easier. So feel free to jump into this link and book yourself a free demo of Executive Automat Security Setup. The demo will take around 60 minutes of your time, and during that time, we will see the whole value of this product. Okay, guys. So last but not least, the question answer session. Unfortunately, I don't see any questions which we haven't answered during the presentation of today's session. Maybe I will just wait like 30-40 seconds more. Want to have addressed directly questions which will be answered today. Go ahead and do so. What I can do, I can wait like 10 to 15 seconds more. Give you a chance to do that. Maybe during that time, I really, what I can say, the Executive Automats Security Setup is a tool which really helps the streamline whole process. And this is something can easily save the money and time. For example, as you have the correct configuration of roles and privileges on your the 365 environment, your UI experience, I'm saying interface experience and user interface is limited only onto the buttons and entry points which are aligned to the security. So basically, your user will not fool around, and if he missed something or she missed something, she or he will have like capability to find faster what she or he is. Okay, there is one question. Is there anything to install in Dynamics 365 Finance Operation itself of this application, or is hosted on separate servers? No, this is like a deployment package, which is the Executive Automat Security Setup is the deployment package, which is designed for your tenant, I would say. And The installation is quite simple, as any ISBV product. This is like a deployment package. So as you create all in one package, you can easily install it on any environment. We have can I build a number of Azure Active Directory accounts with different security roles and use it in the yes. There's like I said before, we can define those. First, we can create a significant amount of the coverage in terms of the test script creation using our executive automats tool, and then we can easily test those roles by executing those scripts which we created before. So if still the business process scenario coverage is fitting our needs. So, and then I see that there's a third question. Okay, this is something which is not well very but okay. Do you have a methodology on performance testing? Actually, we have, and also this performance testing also is connected with the layer of security because, well, as the security roles and the configuration standing beneath that will be correctly deployed in the environment, the performance testing can be created. Because also the performance testing, this is something we are not calling load test of your environment, but physically the performance. So how actually the environment is responding to the actual business scenarios in terms of, for example, Black Fridays, summer season, and we have this knowledge, and we will able to share it. And please be aware of that during our out of our LinkedIn page, because you will be able to find there probably in the several weeks the link for our ebook of testing method. This is a topic which we also addressed. Guys, I see that there's no more questions. So I know that session was a little bit shorter than planned, but yeah, the part was there was a need for our clients to speed up some processes and over there. So I'm very glad that he has set this time to join us today, and I'm hopefully counting that even if the session was quite short, it was very beneficial. So see you next time, and reach us out. Use our contact forms in our executiveautomats.com webpage, and please remember about demo session, our tool, which we will be very happy to show you all the capabilities of the tool. And use the link in the chat section and book yourself private demo. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time, and see you next time. Cheers.